Hi, I'm Dr. Christine Anderson. I am a Los Angeles chiropractor and I've been in practice for over 30 years. And part of what I do as a chiropractor is help teach how to keep yourself healthy. And that is why I am doing this series on PEMF, pulsed electromagnetic frequencies, and EMFs. And tonight I'm going to talk about electro smog. What is it? What are its health effects? And how you can easily minimize it in your home. So let's get started. So what is electro smog? Well, simply, it is man-made EMFs, which are electromagnetic frequencies. This is as opposed to the natural electronic magnetic frequencies I talked about in the first of the series, where the earth is actually producing frequencies that are healthy and healing for our bodies. These are frequencies that we have actually produced. And this started off with things like radio waves. So back in the day before radio waves, we really didn't have these man-made frequencies. It was just the frequencies of nature. So what happened is when they started introducing radio waves, a lot of people felt ill. They felt sick because their bodies had never been exposed to these man-made frequencies. And some people are more susceptible to what is going on with these frequencies than others. And now we keep seeing this more and more. We're going to talk a little bit about the health effects in a moment. But there are some people who are extremely sensitive to electronic magnetic frequencies, and especially those that are man-made. So if you look at this image that I have here of the electromagnetic spectrum, first of all, you'll see the rainbow in the middle. And this is visible light. This is the light that we can see. This is it. That narrow range of frequency is all that we can see when that we have that capability in our perception. Below it to the left, you'll see non-ionizing. So what that means is that these are low, very low frequencies or low frequencies. Radios are in there. You'll see AC power, TV, cell phones, that type of thing. And then to the right of the visible spectrum is very high frequency radiation or electromagnetic spectrum. And there you will see things like X-ray. So we're going to be talking about these frequencies to the left side of the visible spectrum, and I'll talk a little bit more about what some of those things are in a moment. So what happens is that because we have more and more of these electromagnetic frequencies or electro smog, it's completely drowned out what the natural PEMF or pulsed EMF frequencies are that we need to function at a high level and to heal. So this is just a reminder that I did do a video about what are the Earth's PEMF and how can we keep use these natural PEMFs to help keep us healthy. So I do recommend you go back to that so you understand what I'm talking about, how damaging it can be to drown out these natural EMFs. And I'll put a link in the description. So let's jump right into what are these sources. And there's two basic sources of electrosmog. One of them is off the electric grid, and the other is microwave or radio waves, which we'll talk about in a moment. So basically, if you can plug it in, it can create electrosmog. And there are some that are create more electronic frequencies than others, especially things that you put on or near your body, like hair dryers. I just realized and found out today as I was prepping this about induction cooktops. So we all know about microwaves, which we'll talk about in a second, but induction cooktops also put off a lot of EMFs. So if you have that type of cooktop, you now know, thank goodness I have gas at home, but the RV that we have has an induction cooktop. So now I think I want to get one that uses propane, and I can use it outside of the RV if it's weather that I can go outside in. But refrigerators put off a lot of EMFs. And anything, again, that you're putting on your body, electric blankets, water beds, anything that is close to you is going to be more EMFs. Certainly computers, laptops, tablets, printers, that type of thing, televisions, any electric tools. The CFLs are the compact fluorescent lights. And then I have down there dirty electricity in quote marks. And basically that is electricity, that is the wiring in your home can create some electric smog. It really depends how it's put in there. My husband is an electronics technician, thank goodness. And so he is aware of this, and when he wired our house, he did some things to try and minimize the amount of dirty electricity. And then you can also get meters. We have one that reads both the radio frequencies, the RFs, and also I have another one for dirty electricity. And I'll talk a little bit how you can mitigate that if you find that is a problem. But anything electric, anything you plug in has the capability of creating electro smog. So this may, bode well for manual if you can, or maybe unplug it or stay far away from it as possible. But we'll talk more about this mitigation in a moment. Now, microwave or radio wave sources of EMFs or the electro smog, there's going to be some obvious ones like cell towers, Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, cell phones, wireless phones. When you don't think about it, it's like, well, of course it has to use something to connect with the base. So it never dawned on me when we had wireless phones, the portable phones you could just walk around with, that was creating electrosmog. So I have them completely unplugged from the house. And I'll tell you what we do in a moment. Anything wireless. So now everything is wireless and Bluetooth. So from your keyboard and your mouse, that type of thing, it's better if you use a wired-in system because it is not relying on Bluetooth or a wireless to talk to that device. Of course, a microwave, not only does it produce microwave EMFs, but it also changes what's going on in the food. It's really unhealthy to cook with a microwave. And I was very glad when ours broke down and I said, I don't want that replaced. And it was absolutely the best thing that we could do. Another device that people use all the time and don't think about it is a baby monitor. So now because they're wireless, it's like, okay, you can hook it up and you've got the thing you're monitoring on with the picture, you just take it wherever you go. But think about this. You are beaming, so you're pointing that camera at your baby and you're beaming those EMFs right onto that baby while they're trying to sleep and they're trying to rest, rejuvenate, grow, and you're bombarding them with EMFs that whole time. So this is really unhealthy. There are other options. You can get baby monitors that aren't wireless. You can plug them in. I never used one, so I don't know what's out there, but I do know that they do exist. Smart meters. So these smart devices, quote unquote, smart. High levels of EMFs. You've got to be aware of that. Radio waves, satellite waves, GPS, of course, is a tracking system with the satellite in your car, that type of thing. So it's good also to know what are some people experiencing with this bombardment of electrosmog and man-made EMF frequencies. It can range from issues with sleep and headaches and pain, cognitive problems with thinking, memory, depression, dizziness, skin problems, to more serious things like behavior issues in children. So children are a more vulnerable population. They are growing, they are developing, so they are constantly using natural energy to have all this happen, and it's always based on size, right? So their size is relatively smaller, so anything toxic is going to have a greater effect on them. And then when you talk about phones, when you put a phone up to your head, which please don't do, your brain's right there, but a child's skull is way thinner than an adult skull. So when they have an electronic device on their body, whether it be a phone or a tablet or something, even if it's not up onto their head, that is going to have a bigger effect on them. Issues with our cardiovascular system and heart. So we are electric beings. Our whole nervous system is electric. We have brains sending electrical signals down through the spine and the nerves, and then there's feedback electrically back up to the brain. Everything is controlled by the nerves. Those nerves are electrical, so that nervous system has to send signals to the heart to work. And it can really create a disruption in that if there are issues going on with our systems because of electrosmog bombarding us. People have had problems with tinnitus or inner ear damage, visual disorders, infertility, immune system degradation, and neurodegenerative disorders like Parkinson's and Alzheimer and these types of things. There's also the possibility of increased risk of cancer, and there was a report in 1996. So what is that? Over 25 years ago by the Environmental Protection Agency, and they did find a link in this report between harmful electromagnetic fields and cancer. So that is just one report. Unfortunately, if you don't look for a problem, you're not going to find a problem. And a lot of what's going on right now with the rollout of the new technology is they're not even studying it. They're not even studying the effects. They're going off old studies, and they're basically just looking at thermal effects and forgetting that these things oftentimes, especially now with things like Wi-Fi, they're not producing a thermal effect necessarily, but it is more this low frequency effect because our systems are in tune. And go back to the video I did last time, the first video, our systems are in tune with the natural rhythm of the earth. And that's at a low frequency. And when we can't hear that frequency, if our bodies can't hear it, our whole health system will get disrupted. All right, here's some solutions. We've got to be positive about this. We don't want, I don't want to just give you the bad news and then say, see you later. So I've got 12 ways here to minimize electrosmog with a bonus way, so really 13. And these are super simple that you can do at home. Go to the thrift store and buy a corded phone and get a landline. So when you're at home, you can use this corded phone. Yes, you're going to be tethered. It's okay. You get a long cord. That's what we used to do in the good old days before all these portable things existed. And you can use a corded wired phone at home. If you don't want to do that, you can also use your cell phone, and you can get an adapter for it. Of course, I didn't bring my adapter over here for my phone. I should have done that. But you can get an Ethernet connection. So right now, my computer is hooked up to an Ethernet connection, and you get a little thing that fits into your phone that you can then connect to the Ethernet, and you just have to get the proper connection. So you just have to make sure that that's what you do. Thankfully, my husband handled that. He also hardwired the house. It's even better. But minimize how you're using your cell phone if you can. When I use my cell phone, I'm also trying not to touch it. I put it away from me. You can get those little things that stand your phone up if you want, if you're talking to somebody on a video call. So you don't actually have to hold it in your hand and have it off your body. Never put it up to your ear to hear. Always put it on speaker, or you can put headphones in, or something called ear tubes, which have something in them that stops sort of like a reflux of the EMFs going into your ears. So the other thing that I do is I generally will have my phone on airplane mode, and I will just check it to see if anybody's called, unless I'm expecting a call. I never have it in my bedroom with me. It's in a separate room, usually charging, that I could still hear if I need to with my alarm, or if you're expecting a phone call, or some people say I don't want to have my phone off because what if somebody calls? Another vote for the landline on that. I also have something called a Faraday bag, and I actually have that sitting right here. So it's just a little bag, and you put your phone in here, and it's shielded, or it shields you, I should say, from electromagnetic radiation. So that way you can put that in your purse or bag or whatnot. And I typically never carry my phone on me at all. So it's usually in my purse or sitting out somewhere. You also want to turn off your Wi-Fi as much as possible. If you can do it during the day, especially if you are using a computer on a regular basis, like I said, you want to try and hardwire it. You can turn your Wi-Fi off. You don't need your Wi-Fi at that point. And for sure, turn off your Wi-Fi at night. Yes, I know there's other Wi-Fi people around you, but you have control over your home, and you can turn your Wi-Fi off at night to have that much less bombardment of your system, especially at night when you're resting, rejuvenating, and you really need to have the full capacity. You don't want to be bombarded with those negative EMFs. AMAP, by the way, is as much as possible. For those of you who are going, what is AMAP? You want to use wired computer components. So like I said, no wireless or Bluetooth. You want to hardwire in your keyboard, your mouse, any device you're using. You don't want it to be wireless. And for goodness sake, not the Bluetooth earpods. Again, your brain's right there. Your inner ear is right there, which is connected to your brain. You don't want to needlessly put all that negative EMF, that electro smog, right into your brain. And look, I don't think it's that big of a coincidence that I actually know, I think it's 3 people now who have died of brain cancer. And they were not old, they were relatively young. And as a matter of fact, one person I know who died of brain cancer is just a little older than my daughter. So she must have been maybe around 25 when she died. So this is really not something you want to do needlessly, and there's really no need to do it. You want to avoid high EMF appliances as much as possible. So the microwave, the induction cooktop, plasma TVs, hair dryers, anything that puts off a lot of EMFs. You will know if you get a little device and just walk around and see what your appliance is putting off. And again, refrigerators they put out a lot of energy, so you want to be careful about that. For those of you who might live in studios and that type of thing, it might be worth unplugging your refrigerator at night, things should stay cold in there and be okay. Don't use wireless baby monitors. I already alluded to that. Avoid things like water beds, electric blankets, alarm clocks, especially anything in your room. Try to unplug every single thing before you go to bed at night. Opt out of the smart meter installation. So if they come around and say, hey, we're going to put a smart meter in, say, no, you're not. You can, if they've already done it, you can get them to take it away and replace it for the regular meter. Now, it may cost you a little bit of a premium, but what is your health worth? Is it worth a few bucks a month? I think so. There's also going to be more and more smart appliances where they're trying to get us used to hooking everything up so that we can control it remotely. So convenient. Well, it may be convenient, but again, trading off that convenience for something that's being controlled wirelessly, if it is affecting your health, you are going to regret it when you're spending time and money and energy and you do not feel well and your quality of life goes down. As I said, check dirty electricity in your home. Get a monitor that checks what this is. And you can, if there happens to be a plug that has a lot of dirty electricity coming out of it, you can actually use something they call a dirty electricity filter that you plug into the plug. So I'm not going to go into detail on that. You can search that out for yourself. Now, number 10 here is do not buy an electric car. Oh my goodness. I probably just broke so many rules there. Look into this. Electric cars are not as green as you might think. So everybody's all, oh, it's going to save energy. It actually doesn't, because you have to plug your car in, and you plug your car in at home, and your home is basically coal powered for the most part. So you're still using coal to fuel your car. Not only that, but it has batteries. So those batteries, once they are done, they are thrown into a landfill, and they have chemicals in them that don't degrade. So they're not as green as you think. Another down point of electric cars is that you are sitting on all of that electricity, all of that EMF that is not natural, that is man-made. And if you spend a lot of time in your car, which a lot of people who buy electric cars do because they think they're saving the planet, they think they're saving money, which is actually not true either. I looked into this because of the premium that they charge you to buy an electric car. Now, gas prices now might prove to, if they keep going up the way they are, I may take that back. But before all of this stuff began, it wasn't going to cost any more to fuel my car at the pump than to plug it into my home. So think twice about getting an electric car. Especially in the rooms that you spend a lot of time in, you definitely want to replace your compact fluorescent light bulbs with, if you can, full spectrum bulbs. So it's like you're outside. Even better is to go outside, and a lot of times I work outside because my husband hardwired me an area outside. So that is my preferred working space when I'm creating these programs. But if you cannot get outdoors, especially, consider getting a full spectrum bulb for the area that you spend the most time in. This one's kind of obvious, but I still put it in. If you have a choice of where you're living, don't get a place near a cell tower or a high voltage line, right? That's a little bit of a no-brainer. Now, number 13, the bonus way here to minimize electro smog, or actually more than minimize, it's more to mitigate, but ground yourself as much as possible. Get outside, get your bare feet on the ground, on the grass, on the earth. And if you have trouble doing that, there are different ways to ground yourself. I'm going to be talking further about how to do that. I've already done some of this with some of my videos talking about frequency and the top 10 ways, I think, I forget how many ways, but that I keep my frequency high. So I'll put links to all of those. And then as I talk more about pulsed EMF and the benefits, I will also be discussing the devices that help you to get this therapy into your home, because most of us need more than just going out on the earth for a little while, if we can even do that, because the Earth's natural pulsed EMF has actually been decreasing. So we need all the help we can get, but this is a great start. These 12 ways, you want to do as much as you can to try and minimize the EMFs that are disrupting your natural connection with the earth as much as possible. All right, so thank you so much for joining me. If you want to reach out to me, my website is at the top here, and of course I'll put a link in the description. As a chiropractor, part of what I do is educate on how to reduce stress in your life, including toxic stress like the electro smog and EMFs. So this is just one thing that I do, because my goal is to help as many families grow up healthy as possible. So thank you so much. If you haven't subscribed yet, go ahead and do that now and hit the notification button so you know when I go live or videos come out. And please do give me a thumbs up, because it really does help get these videos out to people, which is the whole point, because if no one is hearing this, then how can I help? All right, I will be here again next Tuesday at 6:30 p.m. Have a great week, and see you next time.